let's just jump into it, shall we? We've got some Jeskai Feather here. Feather, for those not familiar, refers to Feather Redeemed. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So we pair Feather here with cheap cards like Defiant Strike, Reckless Rage, God's Willing, and Fight as one, in order to get repeatable protection effects for our threats, as well as growing our creatures like 10th District Legionnaire and Dorrit the Perfect Pet. We tried out some Stormwing Entities last time. It was pretty impressed with this card. Felt super reasonable. Stormwing Entity also gave us a good reason to fit 4 copies of Opt into our deck. And an effect like Opt is really something that this style of deck wants. What's going on, dude? Bring the Switch in here and I'll show you. And then Opt really helps smooth out the draws in this deck, because this is a deck that frequently suffers from what I refer to as the wrong half problem, where you need a good mix of creatures and things that help your creatures, but you can't have too many of one and not of the other. So cantrips like Opt help us find whichever half that we're currently missing in our deck. So one of the other big upsides, I played Naya Feather for a little bit. One of the big upsides to being in Jeskai as opposed to Naya is our mana gets a lot better, because we get to play 3 Triomes in the deck, which is nice. While we have a lot of one mana cards in the deck, other than Opt, all of these cards require us to have a creature in play, so a lot of the time playing a tap land on the first turn of the game isn't a big deal. So let's go ahead and pop on into some matches here with this and see how it goes. Let me see.
It won't work anymore. It only uses Pro Controller right now.
Oh, you need me to help you pick a... Bring the Pro Controller. I'll show you. I am quieter than usual. Yeah, that works, bud.
I want to play for team.
You want to play with the team? Okay, hold on. Okay. Can you carry this back out there? Careful. Careful. Yeah, sounds great. Little awkward. We want to make sure we lead on our blue source here on 2. So this way, if they kill 10th District Legionnaire and we draw another blue source, we can go Opt into Stormwing here. Alright, so probably Nexus. Hey, Rhino, thanks for the 1.5 years. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I do what I can, good nuts. The actual chair in the background is because Christy's been visiting with some consistency with Haley, so I wanted her to have an actual place to sit, as opposed to a folding chair when she comes down to visit. I think I'm actually keeping both of these here.
As I go.
Alright, so... I think I'm just playing this. We can attack for a lot of damage next turn if we do. Morning Chaos Orb. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. Get out of here. Thanks for the card. The great Ogsby. Thanks for the third of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hug the Quilfer. Thanks for 32 months. I'm gonna go ahead and do this and pump this up and get my scry on. Sure. GM Miller, thank you for the sub gift. I appreciate it. And then for those that are new to this archetype, the way Dreadhorde Arcanist interacts with Feather is exactly how we want it to. So when Dreadhorde Arcanist flashes something back here, it's going to come back to our hand with Feather at end of turn. Yeah, I'm a big fan of my opponent spending 4 mana to let me draw a card too. Big fan. So, I had been conceding to Reclamation decks on stream, but I actually think this deck has a pretty okay Reclamation matchup and an okay Teferi matchup. Like, you're not super excited about playing it because it's still a little bit dry, but I think it's worth highlighting that this deck can be competitive against it. Disdainful Stroke is a scotch awkward in the face of Teferi, but often we have haste creatures that can attack Teferi down. Very good at having additional ways to stop, what's it called? Shadow the Sky, though, which is nice. I think we're trimming some God's Willing in this matchup. They don't have a ton of spot removal, and Teferi makes it hard to respond with that anyways. Hey, TFT Pooch. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Oh, that's neat, TDM. So instead of extending a vault to 9 days, they just gave us an extra 2-day vault. That's nice. Good on them. Riot makes good decisions in terms of giving people freebies. That's fine. Not amazing, but fine. Dreadhorde Arcanist being our 2-drop against a Teferi deck isn't super exciting, and that's a great draw, because now we don't have to play Dreadhorde Arcanist as our 2-drop necessarily. Although, do I want to? Maybe I want to. Actually, yeah. So, I'm going to do this, because if they don't have the Teferi, next turn I get to go Dorat into this, into Flash It Back. Hey, BS QRD, thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We want to pressure their Planeswalker here.
Time for Plan B. Here we go.
So I'm going to do this, which should force the Shatter out of their hand. So some of these Bant Nexus decks are playing little or no copies of Reclamation. So I've elected not to board in the Light of Hopes on the off chance that they're playing a build that's not playing that card. You definitely bring in Light of Hope against Blue-Green Nexus. Okay, so they are on the reclamation plan. Pretty sure we're just jamming both of these at this point. I guess I have this to protect it. I'm gonna try and not play around another sweeper, I think. I think I'm far enough behind that I need to try and catch back up here. And if they have the sweeper, they have the sweeper. Like, have another threat in the tank regardless, which is nice. Playing out the second threat here is ideal against Teferi Time Raveler.
Let's try this.
See if they have a Nexus here or not. Always. Yeah, for people that weren't here yesterday, between now and when Wizards finally makes their format changes, we're gonna do a little bit more Runeterra. I'm not taking another week off of Magic because I did plenty of that recently, so don't want to, like, cut the tap dry again, but at this point, I don't want to make extra Magic content when everything's about to change. Yeah, we get to take this game on the play at least. I'm gonna swap out these God's Willings for a couple Light of Hope. I agree, Space. I feel like there's a lot of different ways Wizards could sequence how they do their ban list announcements, and they've literally chosen the worst possible way to do it. In fact, I preferred having set scheduled announcements as opposed to what they do now. Odin and Base Fort. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for keeping me around. I really appreciate it. Hey, Alberto. Good to have you here. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. This hand is great. We get to go ahead and shock in Hallowed Fountain on 1 and opt, and then we can Dreadhorde Arcanist on 2 and flashback opt, which is nice. Correct. Yeah, there's also a very real chance that the Monday announcement is we're just moving the cards we suspended to being banned, which is something. I'm gonna bottom that and hopes we can find something a little bit better. Yeah, that's fantastic. But ways to stop Shatter from getting us is great. And then this actually lets us have an incredibly aggressive start here. So with Dreadhorde Arcanist on 2, we'll be able to go 10th District Legionnaire on 3, fight as 1 both of them, and then flashback fight as 1 and have a ton of power in play. However, now they could shatter us next turn. So I think I'm just doing this and then attacking and casting this opt. Yeah, I think I'm in for that. And then if they don't sweep us, we can opt at the end of their turn, which is nice. Hey, and thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub, Alberto. Hope you're staying safe out there wherever you're at in the world. Looking for more things to pump my critters up here. That's fantastic. If they don't have a piece of interaction, we could be really close to killing them this turn, right? So this is +4, technically. So I have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage rolled up here. That's super unfortunate. Now my Defiant Strike gets countered so I don't draw. Maybe I should have bottomed the second perfect pet. Well, maybe I don't remember. Now I don't remember offhand if I scryed into this or not. If they move Blast Zone to 2, I have Fight as 1 to stop a little bit of that, though. If they have a Nexus of Fate here, it's, like, annoying, but it's also not the end of the world, because, like, they're not really doing anything with their extra turn. Like, again, like, them taking an extra turn, like, feels kind of bad, but if they don't have, like, a Tameo or an Uro in play or, like, a flipped Azcanta, they're not really accruing advantage with the turn that they're taking. And there's only 3 cards in their graveyard, so this Uro is still a little bit away from escaping. I think Teferi probably means the game is over. So, again, Teferi is a really oppressive card that locks us out of being interactive. So now I'm going to be unable to respond to Blast Zone here. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and concede. I don't really feel like playing against this. We're probably dead anyways, and even if we're not, it's just really not fun. So, big part of the reason why both of these cards are going to be banned in the upcoming Hoaglandia tournament is because the types of play patterns they generate are really just not pleasant. Thanks for 20 months, Cohen. Welcome back. I think my favorite thing about, for people that don't follow me on Twitter, so, Wizards announced updates to the upcoming ban list for Monday, but they didn't tell us what they plan to change. And the same day, Runeterra announced that they're adding cards to their watch list, communicating changes that they could potentially make in the future. And I just tweeted out, hey, this is a good comparison of clear communication versus, you know, frustrating non-communication from Wizards. And the number of people that were just like, Wizards can't communicate clearly because their product exists in paper was just mind-boggling to me. Like, people were just like, well, yeah, Wizards can't do that because they have a paper product, and it's just like, well, why? What does their product existing in paper have to do with being unable to communicate with the player base? Like, yeah, it's just like random, like, waving their hands, like, secondary market, secondary market, secondary market. Like, what about a secondary market means they can't do this? The fact that really feeling our 3 colors here a little bit, the fact that I don't have an untapped land here on 2 is kind of a big deal. We're doing alright, Perpsy. Things are drawing infinite cards off the top of our deck. There goes 2 lands that we would have liked, potentially. Yeah, I think it's just that. Silence, really. Like, they have to believe themselves that, like, Wizards has to do this, because if they don't admit that Wizards doesn't have to do this, they have to acknowledge the fact that they're not doing their job correctly, right? You'd think so, JW. You'd think, like, the thing that makes me chuckle is, see, I have the decency, I block people when I don't want them, when I don't want to see their stuff anymore. A lot of other people just mute folks. So, like, I wonder how much those folks would lose their mind if they knew how many people have them muted on Twitter. Because almost assuredly people I'm blocking are being muted by other people that just don't want to deal with whatever information they're putting out there. Oh, I just went live, Bob. I've been live for 20 minutes. I'm starting, since I'm doing shorter days, I'm starting later, so that way the left coast doesn't miss all the live time. I'm looking for an untapped land. I'm gonna Reckless Rage this. Yeah, I mean, I kept kind of a speculative hand. Like, the fact that I kept a hand without untapped sources didn't do us any favors this game either. Just like the fact that their Robber of the Riches have drawn more lands off our deck than we have is just like pretty peak Magic experience. Okay, I'll get him in the post-board game. Alright, Reckless Rage, Shock, and Justice Strike. All fantastic here. We want cheap ways to interact with my opponent's threats in these post-board games. I like trimming Ops in these aggressive matchups because while Op does provide good card selection for us, we generally speaking don't have time to spend mana searching for the right answers. We just want a higher density of things we're actually looking for. Light of Hope is a card I could kind of take or leave. It unfortunately does not destroy Embercleave. If it killed Cleave, we'd definitely play it. But the 4 life and 1/1 counter could often be okay sometimes. I think I'm going to try this configuration, see how it goes. As far as we're aware, Nemesis, like, we're okay. It's been about 2 weeks since Haley was born, and we were at the hospital around a bunch of people, so hopefully we're in the clear. Mostly just don't leave my house. Do we like or dislike Cleave? Personally, I am not a huge fan of the card Embercleave. Embercleave is the type of card that tends to invalidate board presence and blocking in a way that I really don't care for. Yeah, my wife and I just had our third child. Haley Lynn. I believe 3 weeks old. They're 3 weeks now, so yeah, we should hopefully be in the clear for COVID symptoms from having to go to the hospital. Okay, so now I have to decide. We were discharged 23 days ago. There you go, 3 weeks. There's the wife in chat. So we have Dorat, the perfect pet. And we have all of these things to pump it up. However, we drew 10th District Legionnaire. The odds of them having 2 removal spells are really low. And if they don't have any removal spells, having both of these means we're going to run them down very quickly with these cards we have. So I think I just play this out and then try to take as aggressive as possible line here. This is notably a human and a non-human, which makes Fight as one pretty optimal. It can pump and protect both of those for a single mana. Now, if they have 2 removal spells here, we're going to be in trouble in a big way. Yeah, that's rough. So pretty punished for my sequencing here. Also notably got punished for the fact that I bottomed a third land. If I'd have had a land last turn, I would have been able to hold up fight as one. Kill Questing Beast. Unfortunately, this Dreadhorde Arcanist can't flashback Justice Strike because it's a 2 converted mana cost. If we would have drawn a third mana source there, we could have Defiant Striked and then flashback Justice Strike. That's unfortunate. So that'll stop this from doing anything, and then they have another removal spell. So, you know, there's a different series of plays where I draw a third land and we don't get punished for bottoming the third land, but decided to hedge and keep my extra spells and then got appropriately punished for doing so. And there's the third land, way too late at this point. I'm gonna cycle this on their creature trying to find a threat. We did not. So probably just dead now. And then this is pretty peak Magic, right? Like we're in a bad spot in the early turns because we missed a land drop. And now that we desperately need threats, we're just going to draw a bunch of lands to flood out and die. I got my WotC leak this morning, so now I can price gouge the 100 Splitter Twins I bought a while ago. Yeah, I saw people are speculating on both Birthing Pod and Splinter Twins, so, you know, the finance wheel goes burr. Mafia! You got me hooked on Runeterra. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that content. Awesome. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. I appreciate the 12 months. Caldred, thank you for the 19 months of support. It's a long time. Yeah, seems super reasonable. Needs a third land, but has a good mix of spells. Has all of our colors. Black lives do indeed matter. Isn't it? And it really talks about, thanks for the 3 months, Ace of X, it really shows that, like, the fact that protests are still going on for Black Lives Matter, rightfully so, but there aren't, like, riots happening anymore surrounding them, that the news media stopped covering it for the most part. It's like, they only cover it when it's riots, because that's what gets them their clickbait. They don't actually care that people are still protesting. In general, the Jeskai builds felt very reasonable, Panda Ninja. The current recommended feather list on my site is this Jeskai configuration. I think if you're looking to play a feather deck, this is the best way to play feather in this format currently. So my opinion on MTG Melee. Full transparency, we run our Hoaglandia events on MTG Melee, and it's great. I wouldn't be running our own tournament if it wasn't for Melee. Melee makes it... Melee has done, I think, as good of a job as you can possibly do of making tournaments happen on Arena, short of Wizards actually doing their job and giving us an in-client tournament mode. That's fine. They're playing Nexus of Fate, so I'm just going to go to the next matchup. And we said this the other day, like, we hit diamond on the ladder, and the ladder's just been, we actually, and like, it's all super anecdotal for sure, but like, when we were playing in Platinum, there wasn't a lot of Nexus, and since hitting diamond on the ladder, it's just an endless crap show of Nexus decks. Does Runeterra have a tournament mode? They do not as of yet, but they have it on their roadmap. It's also important to remember, like, Runeterra is a much newer product than Arena is. There's plenty of decks and cards that let you beat up the Reclamation deck. Again, just for people that are new to the channel, I'm not conceding these matches to Reclamation because it's unbeatable. I'm conceding the matches to Reclamation because even when we beat it, I still don't have fun. It's just like sitting there hoping their deck doesn't work. It's not satisfying or interesting, in my opinion, to play against. The War Mother control deck was really sweet. I'm gonna elect to no blocks here, because I think they probably have Ember Cleave. The old turn 3 Cleave you. Yeah, it's just dry. Like, and that's why it's such a design failure, in my opinion. Like, when you have people winning games and walking away from your games thinking this wasn't fun, like, what have you done as a designer, like, to make people look at your game and go, I won the game and it wasn't fun to play? Maybe this is wrong, because they're going to get to equip Ember Cleave, and then I have to chump block here and go to 1. Primal Might. Okay, interesting. Yeah, Wizards is owned by, yeah, exactly what Alberto said. Wizards is owned by Hasbro. They are not the WotC's secretly a small indie company comparisons, just like, don't really work in the slightest. We're gonna board like we boarded against last scroll deck. Hopefully we'll draw some lands this game. Ninja's going to YouTube streaming. That's interesting. Let's wonder how many dollars he got for that one. Yeah, seems good. Reckless Rage, one of our better cards this matchup, so definitely gonna keep that. I got a bottom 2 things here though. I guess it's just these two, huh? Google does have a lot of dollars, you're not wrong. I'm gonna wait for a turn here. Because if we can be a little bit fortunate and draw a red source next turn, we can 10th District and Reckless Rage. So with Justice Strike rolled up here, I'd rather just cast this turn and try and double spell next turn. Because if I play this on 2 and they kill it, we get into a bad spot. Yeah, I think they said the estimated his estimated payout from Mixer was like somewhere in the 8 figures. So like he can basically just do whatever he wants. In a way, honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if he didn't take much money to go to YouTube, because he already had a YouTube channel, right, where he has people subscribe to him there. So like going to there kind of makes some amount of sense for him, since he already has a base there. See if we can dodge another removal spell here or not. 25 million subs up there, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And YouTube kind of has that going for them in general, right? Because, like, most people, regardless of what platform they stream on, they also upload to YouTube as well. Okay, they've got their Ember Cleave, set us for 8 here, down to 4, but I'm going to have my Reckless Rage machine gun going, so... I don't watch the stream much anymore because homework's been insanity, but I can't think of any clever clips to announce my resub. Thanks for the 7 months, Suntaf. Hope you're staying safe out there. Now, Feather is down to 2 toughness here, so if they have, like, a Bone Crusher Giant... Nope. Okay. Well, we're not... Opponent's not just dead, but we're definitely ahead at this point. Just get to Reckless Rage every single turn now. Defiant Strike's a great pickup. Gonna let us generate a bunch of card advantage with our Feather here. So, getting to see our deck finally fire on all cylinders here. And then God's Willing now means that they're gonna have a pretty impossible time taking this off the table now that we've picked that up. Alright, so that's the easy game where we were on the plate. Now we gotta try and win one on the draw. I think I'm happy with our board plan here. I think I'd rather have God's Willing than Light of Hope. A Bone Crusher Giant just kills us here, right? How? Oh, because they would stomp our face and then... Yeah, I think you're right. Not to sound like a broken record too much today, but really hoping to draw a land. Gosh, our Gruul opponent starts have just been absurd. Just like Burning Tree Emissaries basically every game. Speaking of Ninja, his last stream on Mixer was to 2,000 people. He goes live on YouTube in 5 minutes and already has 23,000 people waiting. That's wild. Yeah, Mixer wasn't even just small. It also lacked features for the most part. Strange thought. Do you think Burning Tree Emissary could be banned? I don't think so. I think this card's pretty fine. I think if they wanted to get rid of anything out of Gruul, they should get rid of Llanowar Elves or Embercleave. Well, poop. Alright, I'm gonna try one more time before we switch to Runeterra. I don't have it in me to sit here and get beat up. Two Nexus decks, two Gruul decks. Gruul decks had nut draws, 4 out of 6 games. We stumbled on lands. Mixer was owned by Microsoft. Yeah, queued up for one more, trying to find a decent game. That instantly means we queue into Reclamation, right? That's how that works. This hand's actually quite good. We get to go tap land on 1, into 10th District Legionnaire on 2, into opt, play Stormwing on 3. And people can feel free to disagree with me on this, and maybe let's talk about it if you disagree. But I'm of the opinion that I would rather play against Winota, the Winota decks that they banned, than play against Gruul. How do people feel about that? People that have played a bunch of Historic. I feel like my ability to attack the Winota decks is much easier than attacking these Gruul decks. Because the Winota deck had one thing that you had to kill. The Gruul decks, especially with Embercleave, you basically have to kill every threat they play, or you lose. Like, I feel like I can't, being an interactive deck against Gruul is much worse than being an interactive deck against Winota was. Yeah, my win rate with decks that I was building to beat Winota against Winota was much higher than my win rate with decks that I'm building to beat Gruul against Gruul. I don't even know that, like, main deck sweepers are strictly the answer to playing against Gruul. Like, they have so many haste creatures, and if you're not playing Shatter, your sweepers miss some amount of their things. Like... You know, there's also just, like, this feeling of, like, I could, like, adjust my decks to, like, hedge some of these things more, but I also feel like, you know, like, do I even want to spend time tuning my decks to beat Gruul right now? Because, like, Gruul might be getting something banned from it on Monday. So, like, do I invest energy into, like, trying to solve this problem that might just be going away? Am I playing this, or am I holding it to cycle? I think I'm going to hedge holding it to cycle here the way we've been drawing so far today. I'm going to lead on Hallowed Fountain tapped. Yeah, I also think there's that. I don't think I've played a single deck in this format that has a good Gruul matchup that also isn't just pit stains against Nexus. I guess maybe Jeskai controls the exception. The Jeskai control deck that's up on my website is like super reasonable against Gruul and also fine against Reclamation. It's probably the only one. Yeah, definitely, Wyatt. Cleave's the type of card where you frequently just don't beat it, and the game theory optimal players hope they don't have it. Ugin Ramp isn't awful against Nexus. I also don't think it's that good against Gruul, though. You need pretty specific subsets of hands for the Ugin deck to be competitive against Gruul, and a lot of your hands don't quantify, I don't think. Need turn 4 Ugin to beat the average Gruul hand. Yeah, a lot of the time I think that's accurate. Am I keeping that threat? I have Reckless Rage rolled up. That's probably fine. It kills them pretty quickly. Want to just close this game out in the air? Yeah, all of my videos, all the decks that I play get uploaded to my YouTube channel after the fact, so you'll be able to find them on my website and my YouTube channel this evening. Good games. Good luck in the rest of your laddering today. Bikustin. Great. Gotta try and win one on the draw. Nah, I'd never apologize for your deck being good. It's not your job to make balanced gameplay. Never hate the player. I think I have to mulligan this. Yeah, this is much better. I think we bottom the extra tap land here. Kinda want a third land, but also don't want the third land to be tapped. So. Is there a decent feather build in Standard? No, I don't think so. I think I actually made a mistake here. I should have played the Sacred Foundry tapped. I think they're holding up Stomp or something. And with my 3rd land guaranteed, I want to just wait. Why mulligan there? Maybe I didn't seal something. Because we're playing against Gruul and we're on the draw. So keeping a hand that doesn't do anything is an incredibly bad play. Our opponent's Gruul hand was also slow. But on average, that 7 that we had is not good against Gruul. Alright, so they definitely have Questing Beast. Or they definitely have Bone Crusher Giant. Huh? Yeah, that sounds fine. Gives us a threat that doesn't get stomped, which is great. So if they attack here with both of these, we'll go block, block, and then fight as one. Fight as one doesn't work with Beast. God's Willing doesn't work with Beast. Fight as one gives you Indestructible. Indestructible is not protection. So they're going to trample for 5 here with Embercleave. Or sorry, they're going to trample for 10. Because that's how Death Touch works. Oh, magic. You might be okay here with the second fight as one. I don't have lethal here, right? Can I force them to chump block? If I play Dorat out... this flashes back fight as one, which will make this a 4, this a 2, and then this an 8, and this a 2. So that would be 8, 12... 14, 15... 8, 12, 14, 8, 12, 14, 15. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're short. Yeah, so we have 16 total damage, but they'll just block Arcanist and kill us on the backswing. Do you have a God's Willing in the bin? We do, but that's not enough damage, right? So if I God's Willing, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I needed a 1 mana spell here. Is what I needed. Gotta block. They were playing earlier like they had a stomp. So if they have a stomp here, they could kill this before it kills their Spellbreaker is the issue. It looks like that's what's going to happen. We had been playing around stomp most of this game, but I just can't at this point. Yeah. And I believe we're just dead now. This is a really disappointing set. I'm gonna be done. I don't have it in me to keep getting beat up here. My desire to play at a pretty all-time low because they lame ducked all the formats. And just like don't. I don't know. I already have a full set of this. I don't really have anything to say about this. I don't know. I feel like we ran kind of bad there against the girl decks. Then we queued into a bunch of Reclamation and Teferi. And honestly, who knows if any of the decks we played against today are still going to be legal come Monday, right? Like, both Gruul and Reclamation are prime suspects for things that could be changing, which is again why when Wizards makes these ominous something's changing on Monday, it's like, well, are we just supposed to take the week off from content? Maybe that is what I'm supposed to do. I'm just supposed to just like not do Magic content for a week, but it's just like I didn't want to do that again because we just did that. I don't. It's just very frustrating because they can't, like, they've messed up so many of their formats that, like, the announcement, I can't even just, like, okay, we're gonna play Magic Online for a little bit because, like, modern Pioneer and everything else is on the list too, right? My understanding is something will definitely change, Hamblin. They wouldn't list the format if nothing was changing. Thanks for the sub gifties, JMB. All right, I'm gonna switch over to I'm gonna switch to Runeterra.